Go. Hello, it's Mike Alvarado with the Treasure Valley Product Managers. Welcome you to a conversation with another expert in the area of designing user experiences. And our guest today is Benji Mellish, who's the Chief Marketing Officer for Alturas Capital. So Benji, thanks for coming on our show today, and I really appreciate the unique insight that you bring as a person who not only, I think, is very much focused on the bigger issues that an organization is trying to do, but very much also directing maybe the technical talent in executing on that vision for the organization. So why don't we just talk briefly about your role at Alturas Capital as the CMO, and also what is the business that they're in?
So my role as at Alturas Capital is, the Chief Marketing Officer. I spend a lot of time focusing on the user experience of our websites. Beyond our websites, we do a lot of home construction, and we have part ownership of a company called AlertSense, and I help them out too with some of their mobile UI, UX for their apps. And so I spent quite a bit of time actually up at AlertSense doing a lot of their work for some time a couple of years ago.
All right. Now, what is your definition of user experience? What does it cover, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I hope that whenever someone visits our website or uses the mobile app, they don't have to think too much about how to use the app, and it just comes naturally, and they can follow the path that we think that we want them to go to. Contact us, or create a new message, or send out an alert. So we're hoping that the user experience is simple enough that someone can find what they need to do very quickly.
So that really ties into my next question, which are, what are either the key indicators of success for UX? What do you guys look to? It's not just the number of clicks, probably is more than that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more than that. I'm looking for the number of people contacting us. I'm a marketing guy, so I want people to contact me, and if I put a button on a website, or I've tried to find out if someone can follow a chain of websites, links, and other indicators, I want to just be able to measure that and see if they're doing what I intend for them to do. So, I really look forward to contacting us, hitting our contact button or submitting a form. So I spend a lot of time making sure that that's easy to get to, and not only just getting to it, but the appearance of it and how it looks, and maybe can someone quickly tab through and fill out the form.
So how do you provide direction or guidance to the technical teams that have to carry out these goals or these directions you set for the product?
Well, that's a really good question. I spent some time with the development team at AlertSense, just testing it, testing it with them, testing it with other users at the company, and I didn't spend too much time getting actually I did get some user feedback, but I didn't get the direct interaction with them. It was usually coming from a third party. Mm-hmm. But when that user feedback came in, I would spend a lot of time mocking up, wireframing what the user experience could be, sending it to the engineers and saying, could we do it this way? Is it possible to display a list of names that need to be alerted this way, or is the software, the server-side stuff, does it deliver it the way I am designing it?
So you've obviously developed a huge amount of practical experience yourself in not only thinking about it, guiding and directing, managing feedback, sorting through the feedback, but how did you develop those skills? Was this something you took courses in, or how did you develop the level of expertise you have now?
I spent a lot of time in college designing websites. They gave me, this was in 2004, so this was when I was in college. I designed a website that kind of put together all the students in a directory, and allowed us to search them and follow them and tag them. And this was before Facebook. It was like a MySpace era, and I did a lot of like data analysis of what people were doing and what they were clicking. So I had a lot of practice because a bunch of developers, computer science majors, and I would sit and watch what people were doing on the website. So we spent a lot of time studying what they were doing, and ultimately we built an online pictorial directory and saw how people visited the website, what they did, so we watched their habits. And so I carried that onto my career, where we would watch the habits of people and see what they would do and react to it. If the team wants someone to click a certain button to buy a product or just sign up for a newsletter, we try to make that easy. And if we find that we're not getting the result, we look at the data and determine what is the roadblock, and we make changes. Of course, it's never perfect, and we react to what the users are doing.
So you bring up a really great point, which is you can't just say, oh, we have Google Analytics. You've really got to be conversant and comfortable with using the data to help assist the users in getting where they want to go.
Yeah.
All right, last thing I want to ask you about is 1 or 2 tips that you would give someone so they can become very effective at designing, developing, and maintaining user experiences.
I would say one of the biggest tips I can give someone is allow other people to give you feedback. You may feel like you know what you're doing, but as you work with a team, there is feedback from everyone, even down to the entry-level person. They can provide feedback that would be very useful. And measure that. I think it's important to see, okay, if we do this, can we A/B test it? Can we see if that makes a difference? And I like to get the feedback from everyone on the team.
Well, that's a really great point to close on. Even somebody who's new to the team could be a valuable contributor, and it sounds like you take the role of saying, it's my responsibility to try to set up a person to be as beneficial or constructively, contributing to the team.
Yeah, exactly. I like the feedback of fresh eyes. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work, then we change. And we say, hey team, it didn't work out exactly like we thought it would. What is the next change that we can do to get the result that we're looking for?
Well, I know one of the people who taught me a lot about user experience. He says you really should think about your medium, whether it's a website or a document, as an ongoing conversation. So if you think about that portal you're building as something that provokes an ongoing conversation, that you'll really be more successful. And it sounds to me, this is a lot of how you've done what you've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Benji, thanks so much. On behalf of our audience, I'd like to thank Benji Mellish, Chief Marketing Officer at Alturas Capital, for sharing with us some of his perspectives and insights around how to design effective, compelling user experiences.